would like to make some more interaction in between. This is an afternoon session, so many of you will be in the afternoon a little drowsy. So I would be sometimes asking few questions. So I request all of you to be alert. Based on my each unit of presentation, I would like to give some take some feedback from all of you how you are moving ahead in the session. So, friends, I am heading the Center for Disaster Management in ATI, Mysore. So, let us start with the definition of disaster management. As per the Disaster Management Act 2005, the Act says it is a continuous and planning, organizing, coordinating, implementing measures. So, I think you are aware of all these definitions earlier or no? Some of you can tell me. If you are already have covered all these things, I will move ahead for some other aspects. Has anybody covered these things? One of you can tell us. Basic terminologies have been covered.
Sir, yes, sir. Basic is covered. Among
Yes,
these,
sir.
like few concepts are covered, sir.
So if I am asking you one question on what is a risk, disaster risk? Yeah, can anybody throw some light on that? These concepts have been created or not? Disaster risk. So disaster risk is a measure of losses and damages. No problem. I would like to go through some of these basic things also. So in case of any doubts, you can always ask me. Is that okay for you?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, since I was involved in some of those disasters earlier, like Latur earthquake in 1993, and some of the other disasters that have happened subsequently in Bhuj in 2001, 99 earthquake in Odisha. So all those disasters in Karnataka, also in Belgavi flood, and many other Kodagu landslides, and many other disasters in other states also. In tsunami in Nagapattinam and other states, Union Territory, Andaman Nicobar Islands. So based on those experiences, I would like to share some of my other case studies also in the session. So I hope many of them might not have shared some of these cases. In my opinion, what is disaster management? I would not go into the small definitions. In the Disaster Management Act 2005, as I mentioned here in the screen, Disaster Management Act 2005, 11 chapters are there and 79 sections are there in this. In the first chapter itself, they have mentioned about 23 definitions. Because all of us working in government, whether it is an institution or a department, we need to follow these definitions because the Act says that even in the definition of disaster also, they have certain limitations. So that needs to be followed by all of us before declaring a disaster. So whenever the government declares a disaster, you must remember there are 3 levels of disasters. So whenever the district collector or the deputy commissioner declares a disaster, he will follow those 3 levels, like level 1, level 2, level 3. What is level 1 type of disaster? If the disaster is confined to the local area and if it demands the needs, if it demands the support and help from the district administration, then we call such disasters to be declared as level 1 types of disasters, whether it is natural or man-made. Among those 5 disasters, like chemical, industrial, nuclear, geological, biological, and biological and hydrometeorological, or any other accident-related disasters, whenever we declare these disasters, we need to follow these levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 3 means if it requires the support of state government in our India, in our country. If it requires the support of national government and international support, then we call it as level 3 types of disasters. So I'm just telling you the National Disaster Management Authority guidelines, how they have defined disasters. So disaster is something which is any calamity, mishap, or a mishap, calamity arising out of natural or man-made causes, they say in the definition, in the act, in the chapter number 1, they have clearly defined disaster as a mishap, calamity, catastrophe arising out of natural or man-made causes, or by accident or by negligence. Please remember these words. These are very important. Or by negligence or by accident, leading to large-scale destruction of properties, loss of life, and damage or degradation of environment, and is of such a nature which is beyond the coping capacity of the local community of the area affected by the disaster. This is the definition. You please remember, whenever somebody asks you to define disaster, many times you say any sudden event causing loss of life is a disaster. You may say that. Sometimes they say if it is no, that is not the only that is not inclusive definition. So it may be correct, but it is not inclusive. So the act of disaster under the act under the Disaster Management Act is very, very comprehensive, and it says the disaster needs exceeds the capacity of the local community of the area. So that means local capacity is insufficient to manage that kind of disasters, then such type of incidents or events can be fit to be defined as disaster or declared as disasters. That you need to be very, very clear. Okay, as per the definition of the Disaster Management Act 2005. So we cannot just define something as disaster, because many people and many definition dictionaries, they have defined disaster in different ways. But under the Disaster Management Act in India, the definition holds good. Okay. So there are many other definitions. For example, if I am asking you a question, causes for disaster, they have added in that. So what are the causes for disaster? Under the causes, I said, just now, negligence, accident, or mishap, calamity, or catastrophe arising out of natural or man-made causes, I told you. In the recent amendment to the Disaster Management Act in the month of March 25th of 2005, they have excluded the cause arising out of law and order situation. So earlier it was part of it, but now the law and order situation has been excluded from the definition of disaster causes. So if I say how many types of disasters are there, can anybody say something on that? According to the, again, High Powered Committee of the Government of India in 1999, they have classified the disasters into 5 types. So can anybody is aware, somebody is aware of it, these 5 types? One of you can just tell us. Sir? Hello? What are those 5 types of disasters?
Sir, man-made.
Okay.
Nature.
So you are knowing these 2 broadly.
Chemical.
Yes. These are 2 broad categories, but these 2 broad categories have been again reclassified into 5 types. Classification is based on the High Powered Committee of Government of India in 1999, and it continues. And you need to assess all those 5 types of disasters in the district, in the taluk, gram panchayat, in the cities, and in the state. So that's what we are doing from our center here. So we need to identify all the 5 types of disasters in order to prepare a comprehensive disaster management plan. A disaster management plan is the one which is to be implemented every year, and it has to be revised by the district administration, state government, and every institution, including your colleges, schools, hospitals, every institution, whether private or government. So you need to do that. That is why I'm asking you, what are those 5 types of disasters you need to identify from within the college and from outside the college boundary, which are going to affect your college or a school where you are staying, where you are running. Therefore, I am asking you again, these 5 types of disasters are basically water and climate related, like flood, cyclone, hailstorm, lightning, heat waves, cold waves, etc. And under the second classification, geological disasters. What are those geological disasters? All of you are aware: earthquake, landslide, volcanic eruption, and mining related explosions, and many more. Under the chemical disaster, just now somebody said chemical is not the only one. Under that, there are 3 types: chemical, industrial, and nuclear. So all these three types of disasters are included in one category. So Bhopal gas tragedy was one example we can quote. Under the 4th classification, we have biological disasters. What are those biological disasters? Can anybody give some examples? Pandemic. Any other thing? Foot and mouth disease, which is affecting animals. SARS, chikungunya, dengue. Any other epidemic situations? Okay.
Epidemics.
So these are the 4th. So out of any other disaster other than these 4 categories must be included in the 5th category. That is accident related disasters. What do you mean by accident related disasters? Are they more in number than these 4? Anything that is any incident that is other than these 4. Can you name few of them?
Stampede.
Huh?
Stampede.
Yes. Stampede happened very frequently. Yesterday, day before, so many places it is happening. Stampede is one of the major disasters that is included in the 5th category. Next, building collapses of different types. Accidents of different types like road, rail, air, water accidents. Any other thing? So any festival related disasters, anything in the temples, anywhere, whenever mass gathering is there, so many types of disasters can happen. Even electrical disasters of all kinds. Okay, so these are coming under 5th category. So you need to be very, very careful while classifying the disasters as per the Government of India High Court Committee guidelines. So we cannot just tell something. Okay. So there are 5 types of disasters classified under the NDMA guidelines, National Disaster Management Authority guidelines, and we are supposed to know in India, and we have to assess that those kinds of risk arising out of these 5 types of disasters in and around our schools, colleges, district, gram panchayat, city corporations, municipalities, and everywhere, whether it is an institution or an organization or a government or a private. So this is what is need to be done by every organization in the government system. So these are the 5 types of disasters. Just I wanted to know from you because these sessions have been conducted earlier. So what is disaster management? I already put up there. So disaster management involves all the activities conducted before and during and after the disaster. In simple words, it starts with a hazard. When disaster hazard converts into a dangerous situation, then there will be disaster. Soon after the disaster, what will you do? We will have to be deployed for search and rescue operations in the site. All of you must be knowing about it if somebody has involved in it. So search and rescue means those who are trapped inside the building or site, flood or earthquake. We need to go there and search them and rescue them. That is for about maybe 3 days, 4 days, or about a week. So we do that. There we know first few minutes as platinum, 10 minutes, golden hour, and all we call them, because maximum number of lives can be saved within a golden hour or a few minutes sometimes. Therefore, we deploy some specialist doctors, nursing staff, paramedical staff, etc., along with other paramilitary forces like NDRF, SDRF, police, fire, home guard, civil defense, etc., including all of us.
Okay. Next, listed companies to research, analysis, and advisory firms, other credit rating agencies, custodians, other government. These are all the players that comes under the stock market. Other than customer credit rating agencies,
Somebody is making something there.
assess the credit worthiness of the issuers and the securities, provide credit rating to.
Some other class is going on and he is not attending, I think. So this is what happens in online classes. He himself is delivering a session and he has switched on his computer. This is very bad actually. So he has to confine to the class. Please inform him if you know
Investment ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ how much risk ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು.
He is switching on again and again. So soon during the search and rescue operations, I am always giving some of the examples pertaining to your colleges and schools, because all
ಅವ್ರು
of
ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂತ
in colleges many times disaster happen. So in the Kumbakonam disaster, in Bangalore circus tragedy, in Delhi the Preet Vihar school, Delhi public school, that is Preet Vihar public school, and many incidents in Nainital school in Uttarakhand. So why such incidents happen frequently in schools and colleges?
CCC ಅಂತ ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್.
Please ask him to exit from the online class. Why is he showing his demonstration in front of all of us? Okay, so this is what is to be done. Search and rescue followed by relief operations. Relief means we provide them all the facilities in the relief shelters, like the clothing, food, water supply, sanitation, everything that is needed by the victims in the relief shelters for about 3 weeks.
So they have to give the credit.
Can you just inform the person, our coordinators, to ask him to exit from the online class? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ who is there? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? MMC ಅವರು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? Okay. So friends, in brief, it requires pre-disaster phase and post-disaster phase. So in the pre-disaster phase, we start with prevention, mitigation, and preparedness. In the post-disaster phase, we start with search and rescue, end at rehabilitation, reconstruction. So hope you are clear about it. There are about 6-7 stages which are part of the disaster management, and we need to be part of the disaster management. Every team will be functioning 24/7 during the disaster management. So all the departments, including your own educational institutions, all the staff members, including teachers, will be deployed during the disaster. So to manage any disaster, all departments are bound to come under the Disaster Management Act 2005. Section number 31 to 37 of the Disaster Management Act clearly says that all institutions, all the departments in the government must be involved and deployed for managing the disaster. So that is why I said disaster management is a comprehensive and integrated process of planning, organizing, coordinating, staffing, directing, and finally executing and monitoring of different stages of disaster management. So under these, I already mentioned here some of the stages. So if there is any question in this, you please ask me anytime. So I'll move further. So this is the act actually. Central government, state government, there is a district administration, panchayats, municipalities are all part of this, and they will be here actually in the district administration, and you will be all these educational institutions will come under this district administration and state government. So your job is see under the disaster management authority, prime minister is the chairman, state disaster management authority, chief minister is the chairman, district disaster management authority chairman will be the district collector or deputy commissioner. We have Ministry of Home Affairs here, nodal department in the country. We have National Institute of Disaster Management in Delhi and Vijayawada, which is a nodal institution for training and research. We have National Disaster Response Force here, which is functioning from Delhi headquarters and having about 16, 17 battalions across the country, located in different states. We have Disaster Management Department here in every state. So we have National Executive to help the Disaster Management Authority, headed by the Home Secretary. The State Executive Committee, headed by the Chief Secretary, to assist the State Disaster Management Authority. So this is the overall setup in the country now for managing disasters under the Disaster Management Act 2005. So is there any problem with you in this chart? Any doubts? Anybody?
No, sir.
So it has been covered or what already?
It's not been covered, but then I think the entire slide is very clear, sir.
Very nice. Thank you. I'll go more further. So these are the types of disaster. I just wanted to show you again. I told you just now, water and climate, geological, biological, and then chemical, industrial, nuclear, and accident related hazards. So these are the 5 types. If somebody asks you what are the different types of disaster, so you can always tell there are 5 types and there are different examples. And now I go to the disaster management cycle. So this is a disaster, search and rescue operations, relief, recovery, rehabilitation, reconstruction. These are post-disaster activities, and we have prevention, mitigation, and preparedness, pre-disaster activities. So why I showed this to all of you? Because the Disaster Management Act says is categorically told that these 3 stages are more important than these 4. Because preparedness, mitigation, prevention will help you to reduce the disaster risk every year by preparing properly, by mitigating and by preventing different hazards, converting themselves into disasters. So prevention, mitigation, both structural and non-structural mitigation, both preparedness means it is the ability to manage the disaster in terms of men, machine, materials, and also the trained manpower. So you are all trained to prepare for the disaster. Okay, even that is why the disaster management training is conducted for all of you. The government of India is preparing every educational institution for managing the disaster. So why training is one of them. Training and capacity building is one of the components of preparedness. So in ATI Mysore, in our center, we train almost about 3,000 to 4,000 officials every year here in ATI, with mock drills from different institutions, NDRF, SDRF, etc. And we go to the district and taluk level also to conduct the programs, training programs. We help them to prepare the disaster management plans also, revise them properly, and keep them ready for the next phases. Like flood is coming, so 2-3 months before only they should have a contingency plan. That is preparedness. Mitigation means what? Anybody can tell? What is mitigation? Is there anybody who can give some light on that? Mitigation includes 2 types actually. One is structural mitigation and another one is non-structural mitigation. Okay. So recently in Bangalore, there was a building which was about to, it was in a distress. So that building was supposed to be retrofitted with re-strengthening measures like extra steel and all, extra concreting, extra steel reinforcement. So that is structural mitigation. What is non-structural mitigation? Giving awareness, conducting street plays, dramas, essay competitions, which you conduct in regularly in our colleges and schools. So structural and non-structural mitigations are part of educational institutions. So they can campaigns, all those kinds of things they can do, drawing competitions, essay competitions, etc., etc. So that is non-structural mitigation. Even you can prepare some pamphlets and issue do's and don'ts for different types of disaster, like flood do's and don'ts, earthquake do's and don'ts, dengue, chikungunya do's and don'ts. Like that, you prepare so many pamphlets with posters, etc., and distribute it to the community and others. So that is non-structural mitigation. Prevention means suppose some flood is happening in the road in the particular area. If there are people who are staying in that floodplain, we relocate all those people from there, or we actually realign the entire thing. So floodplain is something where people should not be there, but we relocate them. That is, we have already prevented the flood. Floods are bound to happen in that floodplain, but people are located there, so we wanted to remove them. There is an accident-prone road. Every week there is going to be an accident. So the road, that particular stretch of road is very dangerous, and therefore we wanted to realign the road. Realigning the road itself is a prevention, or providing an proper display saying that it is danger, or constructing a wall there, barrier, so that the accident do not happen. So that is prevention. So we have already discussed this preparedness, mitigation, prevention. Search and rescue, I already told you about 3 days search and rescue operations will continue. Relief may be for 3 weeks. Relief means providing all the facilities in the relief shelters. Recovery means, if the road is not say road is broken, then we bring back the road to the. If the electricity is not working, then you recover the electricity within 24 hours, 48 hours. Similarly, there is a water supply problem, then you recover it. Schools are not working, colleges are not working, then restore all the schools and colleges within 48 hours. This is called as recovery. So rehabilitation means providing permanent construction of houses, etc. Reconstruction includes even livelihoods and including all the basic infrastructures. So the reconstruction completes the entire stage. So it starts here and ends here. Prevention, mitigation, preparedness, search and rescue, relief after the disasters, recovery, rehabilitation, reconstruction. So this is post-disaster and this is pre-disaster. So for every stage, we have prepared a state disaster management plan for Karnataka here. Every state is preparing that as per the mandate. And we have district disaster management plans for all these stages. Now we have gone to the Gram Panchayats for preparing the district Gram Panchayat disaster management plans in Karnataka. We have been conducting training program on school and college disaster management plans and safety audit, etc. for all the colleges and schools. So even DDPI, district, what is the DDPI, BEOs, principals, all of them are attending our training programs. So we are asking them to prepare college and school level disaster management plans, giving them all the guidelines, steps to be followed, data to be collected, risk assessment tools, all those templates that we are giving them and asking them to fill them so that plan is prepared. So you need to remember that even your college needs to prepare a disaster management plan. So from wherever you have come, if it is not there, you have to start immediately to prepare a plan, implement it, mock drill it every time, every 3 months, see what are the gaps, and identify and fill the gaps for the next plan. If you don't do this, that is why disaster risks are going to increase every year, and a day may come when if there is a disaster, then you will have a lot of losses and damages, even loss of life also. Okay, so that is why I shown this to you. Some people might have told you all these stages, but you will not be knowing what is the significance of telling all these stages. It is all relevant to each and every organization and institution and department. So for whom these stages needs to be translated into a plan. Okay. So you can see the global evidence. You can see how the hydrometeorological disasters are increasing. You can see here. What do you mean by hydrometeorological disasters? water and climate related disasters. So they are increasing actually, I think they are not decreasing. So this is because of climate change and global warming. All of you must be aware that there's a change in the climate, very rapid changes in the climate and global warming. So greenhouse gas emissions. Recently, this is just now going on COP30. So they are also not coming to a proper conclusion. So some countries have not cooperating with them. So these are all things happening around the world as far as disaster management concerned. Climate financing is one gap which is not being addressed by developed nations very recently. In the 29 COP29 as well as COP. COP means Conference of Parties. It is going on in Brazil just now, last week. So they are saying that a lot of these disaster risks are increasing, but there is no financing properly from the developed nations. So this is what is happening around. So each country is having under the climate agreement. India is also having its own nationally determined NDCs. So under that, by 2070, we are trying to achieve our target, reach our target, reduction of GHG emissions to net zero. Similarly, we are also trying to use 50% of the renewable energy sources by 2030 in another 5 years. India is having these targets. So you need to see why I am saying these climate related incidents are increasing, and therefore we need to reduce the disaster risk by initiating all this. Therefore, Government of India has already started hydrogen mission, solar mission, wind mission. So many missions are there, and lakhs of crores of money is being earmarked for these initiatives by the Government of India and by the state governments. So every state government is having its own target, and they are on a war footing to go for the solar energy and other wind energy and other non-renewable sources. So this is what I wanted to tell you on this. And you can see about 81 countries have a net zero target here. You can see by 2050, all these they wanted to achieve net zero. Target here is 2050 for these countries, including India. Actually, India is wanted to go for 2070 actually, as per the agreement, net zero. So like that, every country is having their own net zero emission targets fixed by them. And in disaster in India, you can see how the disaster profile is here. Landslides, tornadoes, and the maximum number is almost, diseases are also increasing, like cyclones, drought, earthquake, flood. So these are the this is the severity index actually, like the last 5 years, 50 years data. So you can see the frequency versus impact. If you see the frequency versus impact, drought is very rampant in our state, in Karnataka and other states also. Drought, cyclones are in the most of the Bay of Bengal and this particularly other areas of which is coastal belt of about 8,000 kilometers. And we have got forest fires also there in Karnataka and other states. Epidemics are there, hailstorms are there in Karnataka also, but we have incurred about 800 crore loss in the month of March. So like that, so many disasters, earthquakes. Of course, 55% of our area is vulnerable to earthquake. Everybody should know this. In India, 55% of the area of India is vulnerable to earthquake. For example, Karnataka's area is about 22%. So about 12 districts in Karnataka are vulnerable to moderate risk. Flood is there in 103 taluks in Karnataka. Drought, almost more than 50% of the taluks every year are affected by droughts. So almost similar situation is there in the country also. So we have to see all these disasters being happening every year in India and across the globe. You can see here, this is the Wayanad thing. Just I wanted to show you why the Wayanad disaster happened very in the last year. You can see this 470 mm rainfall happened in 48 hours. Therefore, all these things have happened. You must be remembering that Kasturi Rangan report and Kargil report. So they have very categorically said that Kerala is about 9,919 square kilometer area. Out of that, about 3,000 square kilometer is eco-sensitive, and that is you leave that area from development. But it was not done. So this particularly Churmalai and other these affected areas were coming under that eco-sensitive area. As a result of heavy rainfall, our entire this particular villages were under the debris in the slide. So you might have seen how many people were inside the debris and how many people died. This was a big news. The similar situation was there in many states also, Uttarakhand and other places. And even in Karnataka also, we have in Uttar Kannada, Shirur, very recently happened. In Kodagu, every year we have landslides. In Karnataka, 23 taluks have been declared as landslide prone, particularly in Western Ghats. So, like India, we have also similar situation in Karnataka also, in Kerala, Karnataka, everywhere. Okay. So this is what is being seen there in Wayanad. So this is again this is in Bihar, Kosi River, Belagavi flood kind of situation. You can see in Karnataka's Belagavi flood situation. Belagavi flood situation in Karnataka. Konkan Railway slide. So what do you see from all these things? You can see like this is basically you can see this is tsunami situation here. See how it is. Landslide in Uttarakhand. People are struggling there. Losing their loss of life, losing their all the properties, buildings, etc. This is one case study which is very, very important for all of you to know. 93 children were burned to death in this fire incident in school. You can see here. So what was the reason behind it? The school was not prepared. School was having thatched roof. School teachers were not knowing do's and don'ts. There was no school disaster management plan in place. So all these reasons led to the death of all these 93 children who were left inside the classrooms. There is one thing here. I don't know whether it is visible to you. I'll show you later. So this is you can see here Uttarakashi, Uttaranchal, Uttarakhand slides. So every year there is a slide there. Just I wanted to show that. Who owns hazard and who owns disaster? Can anybody give this answer? Who owns hazard and who owns disaster? Who owns hazard?
Nature, sir.
Okay, nature. Who owns disaster?
All of us.
Huh?
Human
All
being.
of us. We are responsible for
Human
most of the disaster.
No, you said nature. Who owns hazard? Nature. Is it only nature?
No, we are also responsible, sir.
Man-made also there.
Yeah. So,
Man-made.
huh?
Man-made disaster also there, no sir.
Therefore, we are all responsible because we are creating many times hazards, and we are together responsible for sometimes creating hazard as much as natural, and we are supposed to manage them also at the same time. Some are natural, some are man-made, as you said just now. So therefore, do you lack knowledge? Do you lack appropriate skills? And do you lack resources to manage them? Do you lack a commitment? And do you lack any other things? So most of the time we lack right attitude. So management of disasters requires positive attitude. Otherwise, there will be loss of life. So that is why I said many times during search and rescue operations, within few minutes, like 10 minutes, one first golden hour, if you do not respond immediately, many lives will be lost. As I saw from the Latur earthquake and many other fire incidents, people were dying because of lack of support from the concerned agencies within the shortest possible time. Therefore, right attitude is very, very important. Right resources are also important. So resources and attitude, and more importantly, knowledge, what to do and what not to do. many times you do wrong procedures and therefore there will be loss of life. There is a skill gap and therefore there is a loss of life. So we do not take appropriate decisions at appropriate time during the disaster, therefore leading to loss of life and loss of assets. So all these things are happening even today also. Therefore, government has brought in a comprehensive Disaster Management Act in 2005 on December 23rd in 2005 in order to streamline the systematic approach to disaster management in India. Systematic approach to disaster management by every organization, every state government, every department of the government. So otherwise, poor management of disaster continues and they continue to depend on only relief-centric approach rather than the prevention, preparedness and mitigation. And therefore, only when there is a disaster, the government will go and give some relief, if at all, some rehabilitation, constructing some houses and leave them to the God. So this was what was happening for all these years, and therefore government took a decision based on the High Court Committee recommendation in 2005. So it was actually enacted. Committee was formed in 1999 only, and they given recommendation. There are two recommendations actually, High Court Committee's recommendations. One was to formulate a Disaster Management Act, and then other was implementation of Incident Response System in India. So these were the two recommendations, and both were implemented in. The Act was inaugurated in 2005, and IRS guidelines are being implemented since 2010 in India. So you must know these two important recommendations. So in order to address all these important issues, government brought in these two important recommendations, and we are bound to implement them, all of us, government, non-government. Okay. So are you aware of this hazard risk vulnerability and capacity analysis? Anybody?
No, sir.
See, this R means disaster risk. I have brought it in the form of an empirical formula here. Disaster risk is directly proportional to hazard and vulnerability and inversely proportional to capacity. Can anybody tell the meaning of this? Just why disaster risk is directly proportional to hazard and vulnerability and inversely proportional to capacity? Risk means loss and damage due to a disaster. Hazard means anything that is posing danger to all of us, in and around us. Anything, it may be of any hazard, chemical, industrial, nuclear, earthquake, flood, anything it may be. Even as simple as some big boulder on the top of the mountain which is going to slide. That is hazard. What is vulnerability? Vulnerability means the people who are vulnerable to that particular hazard. Area, number of houses, number of people. Among the people who are more vulnerable, some are less, some are more vulnerable, some are not vulnerable. So it may be area, it may be people, it may be assets, it may be infrastructure, it may be anything. So that is susceptible to the impact of the hazard. Okay. So that is called vulnerability. Now you understood what is hazard and vulnerability.
Yes, sir.
Now you know what is capacity. Capacity to manage the disaster risk. So you have to reduce the disaster risk. Then we need to proportionately build the capacity in the district or in the college, in the school. What do you mean by capacity? First form different teams, first aid team, search and rescue team, disaster response team, like that. IEC team, etc. If you develop those teams, give them training, both teachers and students. If you give them training on mock drills, etc., then search and rescue skills, etc., then they will be able to manage properly during the disaster. If the teams are not there, how will they manage the disaster risk? So your risk will increase. Okay. So capacity means it can be in the form of the trained manpower, trained human resource, I mean, the materials required for managing the disaster, machineries required for managing the disaster, money required for managing the disaster. So all these things, including the plan that is prepared by the organization.
Basically, ability to handle the situation, right? Sir?
So your ability to manage the disaster risk. So that is what is known as capacity. Therefore, I told you disaster risk increases with hazard and vulnerability and it decreases with capacity. Agreed? All of you agreed?
Yes, sir.
So how does it decrease with the, how does the disaster risk decrease with capacity? Increase in
That's
capacity?
because the ability to handle the situation in a very systematic manner.
Very nice. Very nice. I appreciate your reaction. So capacity in a college context, what do you mean by that? Suppose you in a college, you are the principal or the head of the organization. So you are the physical education teacher or some NSS teacher, NSS volunteer, NCC officer, NSS officer. So you are there. So now tell me, what is the capacity in your context? So what could you do in a college?
No, it's a pre-planning, no, sir. You will have to be prepared. Preparedness for, facing any kind of situation where you have a mock drill that will be done. And, in the mock drill, you tend to show people how to safeguard and how to help people, out of the disaster that takes place.
So very good, ma'am. Thank you. So mock drill is one of the capacity building initiatives in the college and educational institutions. At the same time, you need to assess the disaster risk itself in the campus, from within the campus, from outside the campus. What are all the disaster risks? What are all the hazards? How much vulnerability? It may be it may be as small as even the overhead tank being leaking all the time. It can be chemical laboratory. It can be library where the books are stored without any fire extinguisher, or non-functioning fire extinguisher in the library, in the chemistry lab, or it can be staircase which is not properly illuminated, even your own sanitary block which is not illuminated, which is not it doesn't have any security there for the children, female children or whatever. So even exit gate, as small as exit gate, if there is a fire incident or a bomb threat, can you go get out of the entire school premise, entire college premise within 4 minutes, without any stampede, without any trauma, without any kind of injuries to anybody? So if I say no, yes, sir, then you are prepared. You have the ability, you have the capacity. If you can't, then you don't have the capacity in the college or in the school or in the district or in the government, wherever we are, even hospitals, wherever, schools, colleges, hospitals, wherever you are, even in the government offices. Therefore, capacity means we must be able to evacuate the entire premise within 4 minutes, within maximum 10 minutes. Actually, they say 4 minutes. Therefore, you need to do mock drill, ma'am. You said just now mock drill. Mock drill for fire incident, mock drill for bomb threat, mock drill for any flood, cyclone, etc., earthquake. If you conduct regularly, people will be knowing, all of them will be knowing how to evacuate themselves without causing any stampede in the college, inside the building. So they will not run without any proper communication. So the proper communication system needs to be established. So it should reach the class teacher. All the students should go in a particular way and go and stand in a proper way outside the college premises in the open ground. So if these classes are, first floor should go like this, second floor should go like this, from this exit gate, ground floor should exit like this. If there is everything is there in the college, then you have the capacity. If you do not have any such type of guidelines or map, location map, etc., then there will be more losses and damages. So that is what I mean in the context of your colleges and schools. If it is a government, if it is a state government, if it is a district administration, Gram Panchayat, we have different types of capacities needed there. So similarly, there are a lot of other things needed in the Gram Panchayat level, which we are giving them training. We have formed them into small teams, shelter team, first aid team, search and rescue team, IC team, rehabilitation team. Like that, many teams are formed and we are training them also Some members are from the elected representatives also. NGOs are also there. Volunteers are there. Indian Red Cross Society, clubs, different type of clubs, even NGO association, etc., etc. Many people are there in those committees, and we are training them to be able to manage the disasters during the flood, or during the earthquake, or during any other incidents. So that is what is known as capacity. So sometimes they do not have adequate number of boats. They do not have adequate life jackets. So due to non-availability of life jackets, many times boats are capsized and people have died in many incidents. Therefore, we need to look into each and every minute details under the capacity. So what is the disaster? What is the disaster risk? And what is the vulnerability? How many people are vulnerable? And what are the capacity required to manage the disaster? If you know these things, then you will be able to manage any type of disaster without causing losses and damages. So that's what I
Excuse
am.
me, sir.
Yeah.
So, when you spoke about capacity analysis in college, is like appropriate infrastructure? Can appropriate infrastructure contribute to avoid the disaster, sir?
Yeah. The appropriate infrastructure in terms of adequate number of fire extinguishers, adequate number of fire extinguishers, a first aid room with all the first aid kits. There should be a stretcher rooms.
So don't you think, sir, like training should be mandatory for everybody, all the faculty, even including the faculty and those even students, everybody?
No, that's what I'm saying. We have formed teams. So like, there is a first aid team. There are 2-3 students, senior students. There are teachers, like PE teacher, etc. So 3 or 4 teachers plus about 5-6 students who are willing to be the part of the team reasonably. And we have representatives from health department, like 1 or 2 doctors, and also paramedic staff from the government. So even nursing staff also there in that. And sometimes the fire service department personnel will be there, civil defense, home guards, NSS, NSS, Southern Guide, all of them will be part of that team. Even resident welfare association, like the parents association also. Some of them will be doctors, some of them will be ex-servicemen, some of them will be in some other profession. So we will call all of them and ask them to be part of the team in the college. So they will work whenever there is a disaster. So we have to train them also, and we have to keep everything ready. So that is what continuously revising the plan, revising their training. So because people will change from year to year, students will not be the same next year. So it is a continuous process actually. Even teachers sometimes will be changed. So all these things have to be properly done. Replacement and renovation. Everything has to be done. If your first aid box kit is not working, then you need to replace it. So you cannot keep the same kit forever. So life-saving medicines, etc., they will not be working. So sometimes you should see what is the first aid kit and what are all the ingredients in that. Many things will not be there because they are outdated. Even sometimes paracetamol is there outdated, but still you continue to give the same thing to the students. So even small things, life-saving medicines, I give even that what is that? Even cotton, gauze pieces, even some iodine, all of them. Actually, everything is needed to be replaced and kept updated. So many times dog bites can happen, snake bites can happen in a college premises. Do you have any facility, anything, know how? So we need to give first aid and then immediately call the ambulance and send them to the nearest hospital. Many times we are waiting for the doctors, and something we wait for a long time, so leading to the death. Many times there will be falls, sometimes there will be heart attacks. Many times something may happen to the students, the teachers. We don't know even CPR also, simple CPR, cardiac pulmonary resuscitation. Why can't you undergo simply that kind of 30 compressions followed by 2 breathings? So there is a ABC, this thing is also there. That equipments are also available. You should also learn manually how to do it. So that kind of things everybody should know. All teachers should undergo training in disaster management, first aid, mass casualty management, all these things, even search and rescue skills. So with the help of fire and emergency service, STI, all of them will come and help you, provided you demand that. So that's why we are giving awareness to all of them. Okay. So as you just now pointed out, all teachers must undergo training in disaster management. First aid skill.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And we'll go to the next. So this is what is the definition. I already told you the definition of disaster management under the Act. So Act says that any mishap, calamity, catastrophe arising out of natural or man-made causes by accident or negligence. You see here, by accident or negligence, I'm underlining these things. So by accident or negligence is very much relevant to your colleges. Many times disasters happen in colleges due to negligence and by accident. Okay. So this, if it happens, you attract punishment under the Disaster Management Act 2005. If you know very well that there is a hazard inside the college premises and still you are neglecting, and if that negligence leads to the disaster, then you will be penalized under the offences and penalty clauses of the chapter number 10 of the Disaster Management Act. Chapter number 10, 51 section, 50 to 51 to 60 sections, up to 2 years imprisonment is there. If there is a negligence, 1 year. Negligence leading to disaster, 2 years imprisonment. Who is going to be imprisoned? All those who are responsible for the disaster, including the principal, whoever it is, director, principal, and concerned teacher, whoever it may be. So we need to understand all the seriousness of the disasters nowadays. Earlier, anything would have happened, but now there is a Disaster Management Act. Offences penalties have been laid down in the chapter number 10 of the Disaster Management Act. So you have to be very careful. Okay. So you must know the legal provisions in the Act also. Under section of 65, if you need any support, if the district administration needs any support from your college, water or manpower, any materials, anything, you need to give them, and you need to join hands with them in managing the disaster. If you say no, I'm a private institution, I'm a government institution, I'm an educational institution, I'm not supposed to come, I'm not supposed to help you, then you will be liable to be punished under this Act. Whether it's private or government, everybody has to provide their services to the district administration during times of disasters. Any misappropriation of funds or any false rumors, spreading of false rumors leading 1 year imprisonment under the Act. So anybody is spreading false rumors, false warnings, he is liable for imprisonment for up to 1 year under these provisions. Any misappropriation of funds given to the disaster management will be 2 years imprisonment or fine both, and disciplinary proceedings. Anybody is not abiding by the government guidelines and the orders of the government will be imprisoned for 1 year and fine both. Like that, there are provisions in the Disaster Management Act. I hope you are clear about this. So even it applies to all the educational institutions working under the government. Government basically, okay, government and non-government also. Okay, so hope you are clear about this. What is Disaster Management Act?
Yes, sir.
Says. So I already told this. So this is one incident I'm saying. Okay, this is a case of President's Palace in Haiti. I wanted to show this because even after 2 years also they were unable to excavate that. Even palaces are not safe. Just to show you, the presidential palace is also not safe during earthquake. Here you can see the palace how it has collapsed. So you can see Haiti earthquake shocked citizens. The fire incident happened after the earthquake. It is a scene of the earthquake. Even after 2 years also they were still excavating the bodies. After 2 years also they were excavating. This is the biggest problem of the poorest form of management of disaster. So when will the body, when the people will be alive only for about 50 to 48 hours inside the debris. If we do not remove them within 48 hours, they may not be alive. But here you can see even they were taking 2 years to excavate. This is a Karnataka's map. I'm just telling you an example of Karnataka since all of you are here. 12 districts in Karnataka in pink area, they are coming under the earthquake prone area, and this is less risk area. Similarly, in India, we have 5 zones. First zone is removed because it was low, it was free from all the risk, earthquake risk. So second, third, fourth, fifth are there now. Karnataka is in the third zone and the second zone. No first zone is there. So some risk is there, means the moderate risk in Karnataka. What do you mean by moderate risk, earthquake risk? On the Richter scale, 6.9 earthquake can happen, up to 6.9 on the Richter scale. So you have seen Latur earthquake with the 6.4, Gujarat earthquake with 6.7. What had happened? 15,000, 20,000 people have died in those incidents, and lakhs of people were lost their lives and housing, damage, injuries. Lakhs of people were injured, and lakhs of houses have collapsed, and billions of dollars of money was the loss in those incidents. So I'm saying no area is free from earthquake. It can happen anywhere. Okay. So these are the Karnataka, some of the examples where hailstorm has hailstorm has led to the losses of these crops. Even man-animal conflicts are there in Karnataka. Like you can see the man-animal conflicts here. This is the elephant corridor in Karnataka, particularly in Western Ghats, Bandipur Tiger Reserve and Nagarhode, where we are killing them and they are also killing us. So elephants are killing human beings. Human beings are also killing the elephants in different ways. So elephant killing, deaths, human deaths due to elephant attacks is more here. You can see here. 12, 29, 23, 22, 29, almost every year. Tiger is less here. Leopard is there. Bison, crocodile, sloth bear, wolf, deer, very less. Whitefield. So these are the just I'm showing man-animal conflict is also it's one of the other man-made, or can say natural as much as natural, a disaster. So disaster, man-animal conflict is also becoming a very major disaster, particularly elephants. Okay. And we are also, you can see human death, now elephant deaths. 134, 7, 141, 6, 27, like that. Okay. So natural deaths, and then we have unnatural deaths and total. So unnatural deaths, how they happen, anybody knows? In Western Ghats, in coffee estates, etc., there and crop, whenever they enter their fields, either they may be shooting them, or they may be poisoning them in the food, or in other ways they may be killed. So this is how the unnatural deaths are happening in case of elephants. So you can see these pictures here, how the people have died due to elephants attack in Gundlupete region. This is the damage to the crop, banana crop. Industrial disasters in Karnataka. This is a drought situation in Karnataka. Almost every year we see here. So these kind of things are happening, drying up of the water reservoirs, and water shortage, drinking water shortage, and even the powder shortage for the Koppal and other districts, most of the northern parts. It is in Karnataka, it is in Belagavi, Jamkandi, Bagalkote districts, where during flood they were floating in 2005. Hailstorm in different districts in Karnataka. So this is the hailstorm, and in India you can see the hailstorm, kind of hailstorm here. So they were removing using bulldozers. Okay. So they were removing with the bulldozers there. Why is it coming? Okay. Something is happening there, just I correct it. Okay. So here, after seeing this, you can see here Sidilu. So this lightning is also one of the disasters here. You can see here. Lightning in Karnataka, we have developed one schedule app. Those who are living in Karnataka, they can use it. They can download the schedule app in the mobile, and they can use it. If it is showing, if you switch on the app and then if it is showing red means within 0 to 1 kilometer, there is likely that there is going to be a lightning within 1 kilometer radius. So by getting this alert, you can go and say take your precautions inside the house or outside the house. So that's what you can do. Okay. It is in the Google Play Store, Sidilu. If you give that, it will open and then you can download it. If it is showing red, that means you are in danger. Okay. So you have to go and take precautions. So what are the precautions to be taken during lightning? Anybody? So how you have to prevent yourself from the lightning risk? Suppose you are in the field, you should not go in the higher elevations. If you are in the forest, don't go inside the sheet metallic houses. Don't go at the higher elevations.
You should not stand.
Don't stand. Don't go inside near the trees, under the trees. Don't go metallic or any transformers like that. Okay. So even sometimes you should not take bath during that time, because for bathtub also receives some current from the lightning. So that kind of things. So you can see all these things. So you can see one case study I wanted to share with all of you, how the disaster is managed. There was in 26th of 2020, January 26th, 2010, around 6:30 p.m. the building collapsed. So this building was supposed to be 3 floors, but they went for higher stories, some more stories. Ground first and second floor were completely collapsed. Why they collapsed? Third, fourth, and fifth floor resting on the collapsed portion, and part of the building fell over the adjacent single-story hostel, killing one student in the adjacent hostel. How it was managed? This is the building actually, pancake kind of thing here. You can see here how it has collapsed. And who helped them? The National Disaster Response Force was called in, because there was no capacity in Ballari district to manage the disaster. So they called the NDRF, and they came and they have done the search and rescue operation. You can see here, there were 4 teams formed by the NDRF, and they are working in all the 4 quadrants, east, west, south, north, 24/7. And they have rescued almost 40 to 45 people were trapped inside the building, and some of them were later on they were amputated. Here you can see the post-disaster situation of the people in the building collapse. Why the building collapse? There was no permission for 5th floor, but still they went ahead. Building was built on a marshy land, no proper foundation, no planning, proper planning, lack of proper roads, poor construction materials, and uneven storing of ground and first floor, with 40 tons of cement and 42 tons of granite slab. See, this is a major reason actually. 40 tons of cement and 42 tons of granite slabs, they stored in ground and first floor. So that caused the building to collapse actually, including other important violations. So this is how it was managed. I just wanted to tell you. This NDRF made into 4 teams as soon as they arrived. So each team was having an operational period of about 8 hours. After 8 hours, another team used to take over, and 24/7 they were working, and they could able to save many lives every day. Excavation led to live bodies and dead bodies. Finally, on 14th day, they could able to recover some more. One live person was available inside the debris, and they were along with his 2 dogs. So he was alive. So that is how they rescued the people on war footing. And even after that 14th day, they could able to rescue a person. So this is what is necessary during the search and rescue operations. Therefore, there is an NDRF, National Disaster Response Force, being created in India now. For every state, there is an NDRF help available to us. For example, Karnataka wants any NDRF help, we have a regional center in Bangalore, and also we have a battalion located in Vijayawada. So like that, we have support for everywhere in every state. So we can use the help of National Disaster Response Force also, in addition to their own sources like STRF. STRF means State Disaster Response Force. Okay. So this is one thing, why I show you. This was very well managed disaster by the NDRF. At the end of the day, the people were praising the NDRF as God. So they were the God for them. Now I want to show you one more case for Kodagu landslide, how it has been rehabilitated. So here you can see the pictures of the Kodagu landslide. So this old lady was almost getting, trapped inside the collapsed building, but so soon they went inside the building and then evacuated her. So situation like this are there in most of the landslide disasters. You can see how the NDRF and civil defense, home guards, police, fire, everybody is deployed there, including the government officials. So all of them were involved in these search and rescue operations in this Kodagu flood. Why the Kodagu flood happened that in 2018 and 19, there was a huge rainfall, up to 200 mm rainfall per day, 150 to 200 mm rainfall per day for about 1 week. So that is why most of the incident has happened here, landslide incident. So all 3 taluks were affected and many people were trapped inside the debris. So they were all evacuated. So this is how the preventive measures have been taken in Kodagu slide. So there is a relief shelters properly done, and all the materials were distributed to them. All of them were very systematic, community kitchens, etc. So you can see the pictures here, even the health camps, immunization camps, grains being stored and distributed, everything was done very well there. And finally, you can see for those people who have lost their houses in Kodagu disaster, they have been given about very well constructed houses nearby Kodagu. Like these houses were monolithic in construction. Next time, whenever there is a disaster, nothing will happen to them. They are going to be safe. So these type of houses were constructed in Kodagu and they were rehabilitated in these buildings by the government. Okay. So if you say what is rehabilitation, this is the kind of rehabilitation, good rehabilitation. So if you see some projects like this, then you can say this is good rehabilitation. If there is poor rehabilitation, then people will not go. They again go back to the same vulnerable areas, put up shelter there, and again next year there is one more disaster. So to avoid such type of incidents, you need to give them good housing, infrastructure, and all other facilities, so that they will go back and settle in the new settlement. Otherwise, they will not go. Okay, this is one of the best settlement, rehabilitation settlement. I just wanted to show you. So I wanted to show you that rehabilitation, how they have done here. Recovery. That there is a recovery. So in order to prevent this slide happening, they have put up all these things there, sandbags for the sliding. So I want to go to the now the urban flooding. Why urban floods are rampant nowadays in almost all the cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, everywhere. So most of the cities are having this urban flooding. The reason for flood in Bangalore is these are some of the reasons which I did some research in Bangalore. I'm showing those photos why there is a flood in Bangalore city. You can see here how the system is being maintained. You can see a big manhole being constructed and it is preventing the free flow of water in the drain. You can see the water, so even the sewage entering the houses here, shops and houses during the rainfall. You can see the encroachments and the stormwater drains. So preventing the free flow of water here and there. So you can see the different areas here, Madiwala and other kinds of this area. Sometimes they have constructed really some shopping complexes or shopping shops also by putting pillars inside the stormwater. So these are the reasons for flooding in the cities. So you can see here how the temporary poles, they will put up some temporary poles and build big houses here and here. You can see these will not only cause flood but also the other disaster, building collapses. They need to be prevented actually. You can see the different pipelines laid across the flow of water. What will happen if this is the case? If this is the case, free flow of water is not there, so there is going to be a flood. There's a big water pipeline here, then there's a free flow of water will not be there, so flood. What were natural rains, Raja Kalways, have become like this. And therefore, all these problems, flooding problems. Okay? In most of the cities, they have encroached the water body, they encroached the buffer zones, they have encroached the green belts, everything. So most of the areas were occupied. There is the flood plains are occupied, detention ponds are occupied. So therefore, there's going to be a flood. There's no land available even to provide appropriate drainage now in most of the cities. So cities are going to be part and parcel of floods now and onwards. Our floods are part and parcel of cities because you have not taken care of flood. So floods will take care of the cities now and onwards. So this is the problem. Therefore, even training the women in terms of first aid is very, very important. I wanted to show you in schools and colleges, you need to give them training on first aid, fire safety, building safety, and other safeties. So this is one way of demonstration of different techniques of managing the disasters. So we have development on the one side, disaster management on the other side. So what is the line drawn between them? Is there any correlation between development and disaster management? Anybody? Anyone of you can react on this?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
From MMTTC, sir, it's a tea break time.
What is the time now? 3:15?
Sir, now 3:20, sir.
Yeah, please. What time I will return back?
Sir, 3:45.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. We'll be there.
Okay,
So
sir.
we can break now.
Yeah, thank you, sir.